Rock Sugar Magic is brought to you by Florida Boy Inc. If you like Duck Dynasty or Swamp People, you'll love what Florida Boy has cooking up. It's Florida Boy INC, Florida Boy Inc. on Instagram. Head over there and tell them we sent you. Chris Daughtry, welcome to Rock Sugar Magic.
Thank you for having me, Kerri. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm good. You know, like you, life is crazy. It's busy. It's nonstop, but that's the way I like it.
Yeah. It keeps us going, right?
Yeah, I can't
It never gets boring.
Yeah. Very true. First of all, congratulations on having a #1 single after 15 years. You know, that is
Thank you.
Incredible with Artificial, and I love what it's about.
Thank you.
I would really love to talk about that. I want to talk about Pieces. I watched the video. I know what you've been through in your life, and to write something like that seems so cathartic. And I want to talk about that as well, and talk about your tour and everything that's going on.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There's so much. First of all, you look amazing. You're like unbelievably fit. How do you keep fit?
Thank you.
Like, you're on tour all the time. You're constantly going. Do you carry a gym with you? Like, sometimes people literally take the gym with them on tour.
I'm not like The Rock, where he literally like carries his entire gym everywhere. No, I think after COVID, like I was always kind of fascinated with fitness and obsessed with like bodybuilding as a kid. Like, I don't know if it probably had something to do with my affinity for like action movies and comic books and just that whole aesthetic. And I think I kind of dabbled in it over the years, and then I would get into bad habits, and, you know, the shit would go right out the window, and I'd get on tour and I'd drink a ton. I'd eat my face off and just had a ton of seesaw. Like, I would get in shape, then I'd be out of shape. And then after COVID, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to do everything it takes to like stay this way and get in the best shape of my life. I just, turned 40 and I just decided, like, I'm going to cut out alcohol. I'm going to eat good all the time. Well, 90% of the time, and just make this a lifestyle. And so I had just kind of set up a gym in my garage and made it my addiction, really.
I love that. That's a healthy addiction. That's a really good addiction to have. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the tour, I bring like resistance bands, or we'll run the stairs, or I'll always find some way to get it in, whether it's in a gym or in the arena or whatever.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Tilt your screen back slightly so your head's not cut off.
Oh, you know what? Watch this.
Okay. Okay, we're keeping that.
Now I got a little too short. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. You have kids, wife, touring, writing, everything that you're doing. I love the relationship you have with your wife. I love how you talk about her. I love how you post about her and you write about her. You wrote something to her on Mother's Day that was so heartfelt and so beautiful. And sometimes you see, especially when you're a rock star, you see guys, they kind of keep the wives and kids kind of, that's my other life. You
right.
blend it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it is my life. They are my life, and I feel like this year has been even more combined. Like, I took my one of my twins out on tour for the first time, and he's a musician, and he got to go out on stage and experience that and perform every night. And then I took his twin sister. Recently, we had a couple shows, and she was able to go with me, and she got up on stage and sang with me. And it's super cool when I'm able to not only just share that with them, but then want to be a part of it as well, organically. I'm not like, you're going to get on stage. They were like, can I get on stage? And I'm like, I didn't have that level of confidence at 13 to get in front of my parents, much less, 10,000 people or whatever was at the show. And they're not trembling, I'm kind of nervous for them. And it was so fun to see that and see them kind of get that bug earlier. And like, it didn't get me until like I was 16 or 17 or something. And even then I was like, low key terrified to show anyone, especially people that knew me growing up, that knew me as like anything but a singer.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a comic artist, and so that's how everyone knew me. And for them to be able to like just be free with that identity at such a young age is pretty awesome to witness.
It's super awesome, and I bet your fans just love it when you bring
Yeah.
the
Oh
kids
God,
out.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The response.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And he wants to be kind of like dad. Like he's a.
Yeah, I think they both are kind of pursuing their own lanes. My daughter Addie, she wants to be a singer songwriter, like her hero Taylor Swift, like every girl's hero.
Yeah.
And Noah is like, he's a keyboard player and he's writes songs, but he kind of keeps them to himself. And I can kind of see him doing, like, I don't ever like to put this on them. I like them to find their own way. But as I'm witnessing it, as I'm seeing it, I'm like, he could totally be a producer. He could be in a band. He could be a frontman. He's one of those kids that could do many things in that world and do it really well. So
he can basically choose.
I like to water that garden as opposed to force them to be in it.
No, good for you. That's how it has to. I think if you push somebody, like my mom pushed me to take piano, and I'm glad now, but I was so upset, and it wasn't something I enjoyed or something I wanted to do. It was, you have to, practice now, and here are your lessons, and then I was like, I just stopped, and I didn't go back to it till I was in, my 30s, into my late 30s, and then I started. It was kind of a fast learning curve because I was just playing, and then it got better and better and better because I had the fundamentals, I had the basics. But I wish I wasn't pushed because I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. And my wife, she wants nothing to do with the outs. Like she's like, you go tour and I'll stay here.
Yeah.
She loves to travel. She just doesn't. She's not a big fan of the being cramped on a bus with 6 other guys and and being around too many people. But she is, we've been together since I wasn't even old enough to drink. I was 20, and this year will be 24 years, and she has endured all of my bullshit and still loves me. So it's a pretty like, she's my favorite person. She's my favorite person to hang out with. I know everybody like says, "Oh, this is my best friend," but like, she is, like, we've evolved and grown together and been what feels like through like many different lifetimes up to this point. Even within this one. So,
that's how it should be. Your wife or your husband should be your best friend. And if they're not, to me, there's something wrong. That should be the person you want to spend all your time with, the person you tell everything to, the person who has your back, the person who tells you the truth. That, to me, is the person that I want to be with, the person that is my absolute best friend, and there's no other person on earth I'd rather spend time with and be with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is how it should be. I love that about you guys. Did you always want kids?
Oh yeah. I always thought that was in the cards.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have called how it happened, or I think on paper, looking back, it looks ridiculous. You know what I mean?
What part?
20-year-old marrying a 27-year-old that has 2 kids, and I'm still a kid myself, and I didn't know what I was doing. And but those have been invaluable lessons all teaching me about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And going in, you know, to that, teaching you about yourself and your kids and everything, and writing pieces because of some major family heartbreak.
Right.
Yeah. And why did you do that now? Was it just something you could confront and face now?
Yeah, I mean, when we lost Hannah, I kind of just shut down for a while. It was I didn't want to really do anything. I didn't want to, you know, I never had to cancel a tour, never done anything like that, and it was just a complete disconnect from everyone and everything that I was used to doing, and just allowed myself to be here with my family and try to process it. And there's no, as you know, there's no right or wrong way to grieve, and some days it hits you like a ton of bricks as if it's the first time you're finding out about it, and some days it goes on as usual. And I just kind of allowed myself to just go through the roller coaster of emotions, and didn't really pressure myself to write or do anything until it just started wanting to come out, you know. And I was doing some writing at home just to get some of it out. And a lot of those things that I was writing, they didn't really turn out to be anything, but lyrically and thematically, it all made its way into pieces. Basically, these songs that I was writing led me to write pieces. So I was, you know, when I got back in the studio with my producers, like I had all of these songs that I had been writing that really didn't turn into anything, but all of it was kind of like prepping me for this song, if that makes any sense.
It does.
And it was cathartic, and it was bringing up a lot of, I think at that point I was kind of ready to deal with it and talk about it and write about it, but it was also bringing up other things, you know, from childhood and things that I was kind of finding out in therapy, and it was just this whole amalgamation of things that happened in my life that were leading me to talk about this. And we all go through traumatic events, and whether it be loss or childhood trauma or someone did you wrong or whatever, and it's about, and we can let it completely define us, and be an excuse to be a certain way, or we can learn how to live with those events in a healthy way, and let it inform us and be our strength. And I think that's what it was about for me. It was about, I'm never going to be the same. I'm just not. And I think, if I'm being honest, there's always like a little hint of sadness that's just there on any given day. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it is what it is. And it's about learning how to kind of live with that and accept those events and learn to use them as your strength to be better for the people that are here, to be, you know, a better version of yourself, to go, oh, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have said this when I had an opportunity to maybe, you know, speak light into her, or, you know, all the things that you go through and tell yourself, like, oh, if I could have done this, maybe I could have prevented this. And, which we all know is not true. It's just what our mind starts to tell us, and which is a very difficult part of the grieving process.
Sure.
The guilt and
absolutely. I had that, and I love how you talk about learning from it, because loss is so hard. You lost your mom, and then a week later lost your daughter, and that's so traumatic. And I lost the woman who was my grandma, not blood related, but she's literally was 50 years in one day apart, like, from me, and we were so much alike. And I did end up, like, spending a lot of time with her when she was dying, and a lot of time I took care of her for a while, and financially, and helped her, and was there all the time. And then there was a time I kind of went away, and there was a song, oh my gosh, it's like, it was talking about, and it's a woman who wrote this, and I'm blanking on it, but I kept listening to it, and it's like, always in a rush. It basically, I said I'd call you, I didn't call you. It was basically about telling that person what you wanted to say while they were alive, but now you don't have a chance. So it's, and I remember thinking, I'll never let that happen with my mom or dad. I'm going to tell them everything, how I feel, good, bad, ugly, whatever it was. And that's when my father, I had a traumatic situation with him, and him passing away, and all the things I dealt with. But I remember saying, I'm not going to not tell him everything I feel. And so when he did pass, there was not a feeling of, oh my gosh, I wish I would have said this. But with other people in my life, I learned from that. I learned with, oh my gosh, I wish I would have told Aunt Peggy this. I wish I had told Grandma that. I wish I would have. And I didn't have that with him. And I was so thankful, thanking God. Like, thank God I learned that lesson so he didn't pass, because I remember my brother and sister wishing they had more time with him. And, my brother said, I wish I had one more day with him so I could tell him. And I, thank God, didn't have that with my dad. Yeah. And what got me through my trauma and losing him in such a public, horrible way was going around and helping other people in my situation and talking about it and talking about it and going to conferences and talking about it and talking about it. And I can imagine that's maybe how you feel like when you sing about it, or you're. I do. I feel like, God, I don't know if I could ever go around and do public speaking on it. The only way I know how to do it is through the songs, and it is, I am seeing impact on how people are responding. And when we first released the video, I was reading just the comments on the live stream when I was we did a little live chat talking about the video, and some of the stories these fans were telling me were just brutally heartbreaking, and some of the stuff that they went through, and stuff that I would never just share on a public forum like that. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so traumatic. But to hear that this was helping them with that was, and I don't think we ever go into writing a song going, I'm going to write a song that's going to help people. And I only write what I know. And, I write for me, I write to process for myself. And so for people to come to you and say things like, this song is helping me through this, or this is helping me through a really dark time, or even, even bigger, like this saved my life. It's humbling, because I don't feel like I can just go, yep, nailed it, take credit for that. It's such a heavy, like, even if I think about like, oh, this is having this amount of impact on people, it feels like that's like a heavy burden, not a burden, but like responsibility to even put that on yourself. So it feels like, as a songwriter, to be told that it's a gift, and it makes you want to continue being more vulnerable and just writing what you know, and hope that it's connecting with people on a deep level, because everybody finds their own story within a song, and it's usually never about what you wrote it about. And that's okay. I think that's the beauty of music. And I think
once you write it, it's not yours anyway anymore. It belongs to everyone else.
Yep. In the video from Pieces, you get into this car crash. It's kind of like the Grim Reaper coming after you, at least what I saw, like everybody, the wolf, everything. But at the end, what made me tear up a little is you see the light and you smile. Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh, I'm going to see like my family again. And it literally like made me choke up because that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm not afraid of death. I don't want to, I'd miss people here, I think, but I'm going to see, I truly believe we will see our loved ones again. And like you said, whether it's like past lives or whatever, I believe in reincarnation. My dad believed in reincarnation. I believe we keep coming back. Whether it's to learn lessons or because we want to, because maybe it's, we want to have a human experience, but literally made me tear up when I saw you smile because that's how I feel. Like, it's like, I'm going to see him again. Here I come.
Oh, you're getting me emotional right now.
Oh, God, it really did, because I thought about my dad and the people I've lost. And it was just a cool thing because, I'm going to let you talk, but most people don't smile at death.
Yeah.
That
was like a last minute kind of, our director suggested I do that in the very, and you never really know how these things are going to look in post. And I don't even know if I fully understood the meaning of the video until after.
Wow.
I knew what we were going for, and I knew on a surface level I was going, and it's ridiculous, but I was inspired by Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
The broken mirrors. And
yep.
That's just all I kept seeing when I was thinking of making a video for this song. And I didn't know what the story was going to be. And our director, Ethan Manicky, he who did Machete and co-directed Sin City. And he had this treatment of me getting in this car crash, and the way I thought about it is, these, let's call them wizards and ninjas, were basically all the shit we go through in life, all the punches that get thrown at us at any given turn. And this car crash was me trying to run away from everything or whatever that is. And then you're forced to deal with it anyway.
Yeah.
I get in this car crash. I'm forced to deal with all the darkness. And then I see the light. Yeah. And I'm like, ta-da, oh, that's a beautiful thing. And then my bass player was like, he gave me his interpretation of it. And I was like, oh my God, that's way deep. And the wolf signify, Marty.
Yeah.
So the wolf signifies it's like my spirit animal. It's like my strength. It's there to guide me through these, obstacles and this darkness. And he was like, oh, I totally just assumed you die at the very beginning of the video. And this is your way fighting to the afterlife. And you cross over at the end. I'm like,
whoa.
That is way better than what, and it just felt like so heavy. And, so I love that I didn't even interpret it that way. And he was just, I just assumed that's how, I thought it was brilliant. Like the way, and, I love that it turned out the way it did. And when he told me, like, just do a little smile at the end, I'm like, is that going to be weird and cheesy?
No.
And then I saw it and it made me like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever smiled in a video ever. That was, that simple little moment felt so powerful watching it back.
And it was. Because
thank you for saying that.
Yeah. It just hit me so hard. I'm like, wow, you just don't see that. And it was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about your artistry. You said you were a cartoon artist. You drew. And my boyfriend he did cartoons, and he did drawings. But he also was a musician, plays guitar, and and he has this massive creative side. And it sounds like you kind of have the same. I see the purple in the background with the like
it's Deadpool. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't see that. I didn't know. I don't know if that's something you did. Oh my gosh, it's a full life-size Deadpool.
It is. It was a gift from Chad Kroeger from Nickelback.
Yep.
Years ago. We were on tour, and he brought that out on stage when we were in Europe, and he just went and picked this thing. It was our last day of the tour, and that was his gift to me. He brought out, he knew I was a huge comic book fan, and brought out this life-size Deadpool while I'm performing. I'm like, what the hell is going on behind me? And he's just standing there. So he had to ship that from Europe to here.
Oh, wow.
But and then Batman is my first love.
Oh, there's Batman.
Yeah.
You were blocking Batman. Yeah.
Right? How dare me?
Yeah. Wonder Woman was mine. That was it.
Yeah, that's my wife's. Yeah. I did a big drawing of her as Wonder Woman that's hanging up in our hallway. So DJ's a comic artist as well.
Yes.
He does.
So you
that's
know
awesome.
him. Yeah. He's all telling.
I've never met him, but I clearly know who he is.
Yeah, and he says, "Tell him hi." Yeah. I'm like, "I will."
Oh, awesome! Yeah, awesome. Well, tell him I said hello.
I will. He'll see this. He started out as a kid drawing everything, and he was on piano, and then he went. I think at 9 started playing guitar, but he convinced. He was grew up in a very, very small town of like 1,500 people, Fairbury, Illinois, and he convinced the newspaper that they needed a comic book like section, and he would draw it. And the
That's
guy,
cool.
Yeah. So I think 12 years old, he started doing that for the town newspaper. And
that's amazing.
Yes, and so now
I grew up in a small town as well, like 900 people in North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh yeah, tiny.
But we didn't have. I don't even think we had a newspaper.
Yeah. I mean, it's the smallest town. I've been back a few times, and you could see it looks like something out of the late 1800s, and it's been there since. Wow. And some of the buildings are from that time. And there's one little tiny main street, and you see where the bank was, you see where the newspaper was, and it's all still there. Maybe different iterations and other things now are there, but. It's so cool. And he showed me, it's like, that's where I did my drawings for the paper. And that's where this happened here. And it's very cool. But he took that further and he built it's called Ashba Studio. So he has a fabrication company that makes stuff for NASA and Nike. And I know.
Whoa.
Literally. Yeah. So that's what he does.
That's big brain stuff right there.
He creates the most incredible things. So anything you can think of, he'll create it. With whatever, out of anything.
I'm curious, is he as involved with the art now that he's touring the world, or because I find it hard to do both. I'll get into a creative flow doing art, and I'll just forget about music for whatever the duration is that I've finished this piece, and then I'm like, okay, now I can focus on music. It's hard for me to juggle both. He
has to do both because his company, people are coming to him and like, hey, this is what we want. And some companies will come and say, like NASA, we need a full scale, like lunar lander. Like we need what's on the moon. We need it built full scale. And then he gets the CADs and everything else, whatever he has to put stuff together. And I mean, the astronauts came by and said to him, he goes, we can't tell the difference between yours and the one that's on the moon. And stuff like that. So
he's doing important shit. I'm drawing Batman.
No, he does that too. He does that too. Like he'll do really crazy stuff. Nike had him do these they look like large balloon. It's cut out of foam, but you know how you make figures with balloons? They wanted ones that were 15 foot high. So he gets to make stuff like that, or 70-foot volcanoes that erupt, or latex people that look really real for Cirque du Soleil, crazy fun stuff. All
right, I'm gonna have to look into this. Yeah, this sounds fun.
No, you guys should talk. Yeah. You guys should talk. He loves art. He loves it. So, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, and he would draw things. We went back home to his house in Fairbury, and he went back to the place where he grew up, and he would go under the stairs and draw things. And we went back.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah, you guys you're a lot alike in that. Yeah, I love that. I love the create. There's an energy that comes when you're creating, whether it's music or it's drawing or whatever I'm creating too. I feel like there's this energy that kind of takes over. Is that what happens for you too?
Yeah, I think so. I find that when it's music, it feels like when it really clicks and when it's really flowing, it feels like I'm just grabbing something that was there. Like it didn't come from me. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I've
like,
heard this from
like,
many people.
like the thought just appeared in the ether, and I was just quick enough to grab it before someone else did. You know, and then there's times where I feel like I'm just forcing it, and like, and that's when it's like you stop.
Yeah,
because it feels like, this is just. That happened the other day. We were in the studio and we were just beating our heads against the wall. And I'm like, maybe this sucks. Maybe this just isn't good. Did we think of that? Like, maybe there's a reason why we're trying so hard here, because it's not good.
Yeah.
And we walked away from it and we all came to that conclusion. Yeah, like that's like put it on the back burner. And then we went to something else and it just started flowing. We're like, see, here we are.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like that happens. And we're just like these vessels that the art comes through, you know?
Yeah. Are you ready for some speed questions?
All right, let's go.
Okay. Ready?
All right.
Okay. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Maybe not in the sense, the way they're depicted, but yes.
Okay. Do you have a ghost story?
I feel like I remember things happening when I was a kid that made me think it was a ghost. There was this old house in this small town that I was telling you about, this completely abandoned house. And we would ride our bikes everywhere, and we would go there at night. And one night out of nowhere, a light came on in the attic, or what seemed to be the attic. We never got up there, and we just hauled ass. We bolted. Like we still don't know to this day, like what caused that, or maybe someone was just fucking with us. I don't know, but but it was an abandoned house. Who has light bulbs that work? You know what I mean?
Yep. No, it's true. That's kind of scary though.
Yeah.
If you weren't a musician or an artist, what would you be doing?
Oh, you said or artist.
Yep.
I feel like whatever I would, probably an actor, I would always want to do something in the arts, performing arts. I love making these videos because I get to do a little acting, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was one of my first loves as well.
I love it. What is something that people do not know about you?
I shave my legs.
Why? Do you have tattoos on your legs?
I don't. I just hate body hair. I shave my entire body. It's just, I just do it. This is all I've got right here.
It's so funny. You have a lot of facial hair, but nothing on your body. It started when I would shave my arms for tattoos. Yep.
And then everything else just felt so wrong. So I just kept going.
I love it. I love shaving. I don't like to be hairy. Like,
I hate it.
Yeah. So I'm hairy. So I'm like, once that laser came out for body hair, I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on.
I get it.
Yeah. If there was somebody living, well, dead or alive, and you could spend an hour with them, who would it be?
Oh, God. An hour? I have so many. But I don't want to go for the low-hanging fruit here. Prince.
Yeah. What would you ask him?
Oh, God. And maybe it would take me an hour to figure that out. I have no idea. I would just want to see what kind of conversations came up. And I wouldn't want it to feel like an interview. I wouldn't want it to feel like just someone who was annoying the shit out of him. I would want it to just see what kind of things we connect on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you?
You know what? I would ask him about Bat Dance
Okay.
when he did that video for the Batman movie in 1989, which was my favorite movie of all time.
Oh.
And I remember seeing that video as a kid, and I'm just like, what the hell am I watching here? This is like, no pun intended, this is batshit crazy. Have you seen it?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think. I don't remember it.
He's painted half Joker, and then the other half he's wearing like all black. So it's like Batman and it's crazy. Just look up Bat Dance.
I will. No, I will.
when this is over.
Whoa. Maybe I'll play a little bit here if I can.
It's weird.
That is.
It's out there.
It is. What are you most proud of? And I know your kids and wife. People always say family.
Yeah.
Something besides the kids and wife.
I'm proud of the fact that after doing this for 17 years, we were able to climb up from the trenches and make a comeback and have a number one at rock radio for the first time ever. This is our first number one at rock radio in the format that I always wanted to be at. And to be doing this at 44 years old and feel like I'm making my best work. And I went through a time where I thought I was done. I thought I'd created what I was going to create. Nobody gives a shit anymore. I went through this really low self-doubting period, and to be able to climb out of that and feel reinvigorated and more excited about this than I was even in the beginning is something that I'm very, very proud of. That's
awesome. And congratulations on that. Congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on Pieces and that beautiful video.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in life, just, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Seriously, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to put you and my boyfriend together. You have so much in common. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
We should have dinner sometime.
Absolutely.
I would love that.
All right.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Signing off.